Okay, gentlemen, we're here with Dean Pierce, and as you can see in the background, we've got our frac design and components shown here. It's taken us some time to evaluate, but I think the time has been well spent. We used the core data to take the rock mechanics into consideration for the design. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Dean and let him explain. This will be a multi-part series so that we can get this without going into multiple minutes per transmission. So in just a second, he'll take on his part.
As Michael mentioned, we're working on the final frac design here. As you can see, we have printouts of each stage of the frac design, starting with 2,000 gallons of acid that will etch the formation, and going through the main pad designs, sand concentrations, and our final flushes that will come out here. You can see those. Now once we calculate all that, you can see on the screen we get a profile here, and that's the fracture length, which is around 215 feet. These are the concentration of sand. The blue is about 1 pound per square foot, per cubic foot, square foot, and then ranging up to 9 pounds per foot. You can see the sand concentration there on the bottom is a little bit heavier. And what that allows you to do is fracture this open, put the sand in there, and it's size 40/70 sand, and it's a white sand, so it retains its shape after about 9,000 psi of pressure on it. We'll get about 4,000 or 5,000 as this fracture closes down. So the sand in there will keep the formation open. Okay, and we're going to perforate about a 20-foot interval. Now this represents about 3 inches of the typical fracture, but we'll actually do this over a 20-foot interval with 6 shots per foot. So we're going to see multiple fracs go out from the well and be propped open and be held open.
But the basic design should look like this as far as its disbursement.
Okay, once we frac the formation open, the sand comes in, the formation will close down on it, but it'll remain open because of the sand. Then we start to see the oil flow back. We're going to perforate 20 feet of the 30-foot interval. The whole 30-foot interval has oil in it. The bottom of it, probably some water and oil mix, but we'll see a tremendous amount of oil come back with this kind of interval. With this kind of fracture length and height, we'll see a lot of oil come back as we flow the well back.
Okay, guys, we're back. We're now pulling the actual, I guess the log strip itself. That's got the description from Don Hayes, a PhD geologist that did the report that we actually used in consideration for putting the frac design together. And so Dean is going to explain some of the key features, and you probably heard us speak several times about vugs and vuggy porosity, and it's just very unusual that you get this type of vugular porosity generated in such a well-distributed portion of a core like this. So I'm going to stop here and then turn it over to Dean.
Okay, what you're seeing here is a description of the actual core by Premier Oilfield Group, as evidenced by Don Hayes, who logged all these features in as they went through the cores. A couple of things I want to point out in this is the cemented fractures. Not only does it have porosity, but it has fractures throughout. And more importantly, it has the vugular porosity, meaning you have open spaces throughout the core, and we'll connect those with the frac. It's very rare to see this. Sometimes you see it offshore, or maybe the Gulf of Mexico, but in an environment like this, it's very, very unusual to see. It's a very, very good sign of what we're going to see as we frac it. This is something we never saw in the first 3 wells because you didn't have a core to actually look at the rock itself, and it doesn't show up on the logs. Which ones?
Okay, all of the puppy tracks, if you'll see it on this gray background, you'll notice that Don has notated that visible vulgular porosity exists the entire length of the core. That's what those puppy track marks are.
These little marks right here, you can see them all up and down.
And they were visual. Wayne actually commented that you could see them with the naked eye.
All up and down the core. Very unusual to see this.